Stop scrolling. Most channels are telling you Ukraine is launching drone attacks. Big swarms, lots of fire. Russia shoots them down. Move along. They're missing the real story. Because here's the thing that should terrify the Kremlin. Russia is shooting down more drones than ever before, and that is exactly what Ukraine wants. By mid-2026, Ukraine's drone warfare tactics have undergone a systemic transformation, and what we are watching is not a series of isolated attacks. It is a carefully engineered strategy to bankrupt Russia's air defense system, not by destroying it, by exhausting it. This is war conflict. Today we are doing a technical breakdown of Ukraine's drone strategy. 3 parts. First, the decoy tactic that is forcing Russia to waste millions of dollars on empty drones. Second, the intelligence network that allows Ukraine to map gaps in Russian air defenses. Third, what happens when Russia's air defense systems are stretched so thin that they collapse entirely? Let's start with the decoys. Most people think every drone Ukraine launches is carrying a warhead. That is no longer true. According to data from military experts monitoring the Rybar Telegram channel, up to 60% of all Ukrainian drones shot down by Russian air defenses in May 2026 were not carrying explosives. 60%. Think about that number. Russia is firing expensive interceptor missiles at drones that have no warhead, drones that are literally designed to be shot down. A commander from Ukraine's defense intelligence, identified only by the call sign Vector, explained the strategy to CNN. He said, and I am quoting him directly, "Some are empty, some with a payload. The payload is small, but it is enough to destroy air defense systems." Here is the technical problem Russia faces. Radar cannot tell the difference between a drone with a warhead and a drone without one. Both appear as targets on the screen. Both must be engaged. If you let one through and it explodes, you lose a system worth tens of millions of dollars. So Russia shoots at everything. And Ukraine knows this. The economics of this tactic are staggering. A decoy drone costs a few $1,000s. A Russian interceptor missile costs anywhere from $300,000 to over $1 million. Every time Russia shoots down a decoy, they are losing money, not saving it. This is a war of attrition fought with economics. And Ukraine is winning the math. But here is what no one is talking about. Stick with me, because decoys are only half the story. The other half is how Ukraine knows exactly where to send their real drones, and that is where Western intelligence changes everything. Decoys only work if the real drones actually hit something important. Ukraine is not launching blind. According to multiple reports, Ukraine is receiving continuously updated data from Western satellites and NATO reconnaissance aircraft before every major drone operation. This information includes precise locations of Russian radar stations and air defense systems. And here is the technical layer that most people miss. Ukrainian operators are not just flying drones and hoping. They are mapping flight paths that avoid Russian radar coverage altogether. They are identifying gaps in the defense network. They are exploiting weaknesses that NATO intelligence has identified. An AI system, likely linked to Palantir's Prisma platform, processes real-time battlefield data to optimize drone routes. The system analyzes previous interception points, coverage patterns of Russian air defense, routes that avoid detection, density of air defense activity in different areas. During the attack on the Leningrad region in May 2026, Ukraine used 3 different flight paths simultaneously. The main route along the border with Belarus and the Baltic states. Another bypassing Smolensk. A third through the Novgorod region, flying along the edge of Russia's air defense zone. Some drones even penetrated the airspace of Baltic states before turning back into Russian territory. The goal? To create confusion. To force Russia to spread its air defense resources across multiple threat vectors. And here is where this gets really strategic. By mid-2026, Ukrainian drones are no longer just hitting border areas. They are reaching as far as Siberia. The range has increased dramatically. The accuracy has improved significantly. And it all depends on that intelligence pipeline. A Ukraine that knows exactly where Russia's defenses are weak can strike anywhere. Let me breathe here for a second. I have been covering this war for over 2 years on this channel, and I will be honest with you. When I first read the statistic about 60% decoy drones, I had to read it 3 times. 6-0. That is not a tactical trick. That is a systematic strategy. It means Ukraine is thinking about this war in economic terms. They are not just trying to destroy Russia's army, they are trying to bankrupt it. Every S-300 missile Russia fires at a decoy drone is a missile that does not fire at a Ukrainian bomber. Every Pantsir system that reveals its position by engaging a decoy is a system that becomes a target for the next wave. This is chess, not checkers, and the people who benefit from this strategy are not generals in a briefing room. They are the families in Kharkiv who have one less Russian missile to worry about because Russia wasted its interceptors on empty drones. That is not a statistic. That is a strategy saving lives. Okay, back to the technical breakdown. So what happens when you combine decoy drones with precision targeting and Western intelligence? You get a collapse of Russian air defense. The numbers are staggering. The Security Service of Ukraine, the SBU, has reported that their operations have caused approximately $4 billion in damage to Russian air defense systems. Over the past year, Ukrainian forces have destroyed or disabled multiple systems, including S-300, S-350, and S-400 systems, Buk M1 and Buk M2 surface-to-air missile systems, Pantsir S-1 and Pantsir S-2 systems, Tor M1, Tor M2, and Tor M3 systems. And it is not just the launchers. Radar stations critical for detecting air targets have also been hit. Nebo-U and Nebo-M radars, Podliot, Niobium, Kosta-2E2, Gamma-D, and Protivnik-G systems. These are not minor losses. These are the eyes of Russia's air defense network. And here is the cascading effect. When you destroy a radar system, you create a blind spot. When you destroy a launcher, you create a gap in the defense umbrella. When you force Russia to mount air defense systems on the rooftops of Moscow, you are diverting resources away from the front lines. Ukraine has essentially created corridors through Russia's layered air defense network. Corridors that allow long-range drones to penetrate deep into Russian territory. The SBU's statement on this was clear, and I want to quote it directly. This work had a systemic effect. Corridors were broken through in the Russian Federation's multi-layered air defense. That is a polite way of saying Russia's air defense umbrella has holes. Big ones. But Russia is not standing still. The Russians are adapting. They have developed new electronic warfare systems specifically targeting Ukraine's Vampire, or Baba Yaga, heavy attack drones. According to the developer, 4 such systems with directional antennas can almost completely block the routes of these drones to frontline positions. They have also deployed drone detectors capable of intercepting Ukraine's mid-range Hornet strike drones. 2 detectors are already operating in the Hornet's combat zone. But here's the problem Russia cannot solve. Electronic warfare works best against drones that rely on radio signals to navigate. When Ukraine started equipping its drones with Starlink satellite communication terminals, the EW systems lost effectiveness. It is an arms race, and Ukraine has the advantage of Western technology. One expert put it this way: anti-aircraft fire remains the only effective countermeasure against some of Ukraine's newer drones. That means Russia has to shoot them down. That means expensive missiles against cheap drones. That is a losing economic equation. Russia's air defenses are not failing because they are incompetent. They are failing because Ukraine has designed a strategy that makes them unsustainable. So where does this go? Short term, days to weeks. Russia will continue to adapt. They will deploy more EW systems. They will build more drone detectors. They will move air defense systems closer to the front line. But every adaptation costs money and time. Medium term, months. The gaps in Russia's air defense umbrella will grow. Ukraine will exploit these gaps to strike deeper and deeper. The $4 billion in losses the SBU has already inflicted will become $8 billion, $10 billion, $20 billion. Long term, 1 year. The question is no longer whether Ukraine can hit Russian targets. The question is whether Russia can afford to defend them. When you are shooting down 60% decoy drones, you are not winning. You are losing. Slowly, expensively, irreversibly. Here is how you help this channel. First, share this video with one person who thinks Russian air defenses are impenetrable, because they are not. Second, comment below. Do you think Russia can close the gaps in its air defense network before Ukraine exploits them further? I read every comment. Third, subscribe to War Conflict if you have not already. We post every week. We do not hype, we do not lie. We give you the technical breakdowns no one else is providing. This is War Conflict. Russian air defenses are not failing because of one lucky strike. They are failing because Ukraine has designed a system, decoy drones, intelligence, precision targeting, that exhausts them from within. This war is not over, and neither is our coverage. See you in the next one.